Today's story is Seymour in Michigan, Settling into Camp, written by Carol Craven Bates and illustrated by Kari Wimsatt. If you would like a copy of this book, there's a link for it in the description. Chapter 10. After Seymour and the children were refreshed from their time in the pool, they once again gathered around the shade of the oak tree so the Smotter could continue telling them about how Gideon had met God face to face. Remember I told you how the Israelites turned their back on God and he let the Midianites steal all their crops? Then after 7 years they prayed to the Lord for help and he sent them a prophet? After the prophet told them why they were being punished, the Lord was ready to help them have victory over their enemies and help them come back to worshiping him. One day Gideon found a small amount of wheat and he was hiding by a winepress threshing it out so he could make some bread. The angel of the Lord appeared beneath an oak tree right near him. The angel said, "The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor." That was just like saying that Gideon was strong and brave. Gideon was shocked to hear that because he didn't feel mighty and strong. He felt powerless and weak. In fact, he was hiding from the Midianites right then. Gideon didn't realize he was talking to the Lord God himself, so he wasn't afraid to speak up and tell this man how he felt. He said, "If the Lord is with us, why have all these bad things been happening? And where are all the miracles our ancestors told us about? Miracles like how he brought us out of Egypt. The Lord has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites." Gideon failed to mention how Israel had turned their back on God. The angel of the Lord said, "I will make you strong. Go and save Israel from the Midianites because I am sending you." Gideon didn't see any way of that ever happening, so his sharp reply was, "How can I save Israel? My family is the poorest in the tribe of Manasseh, and I'm the least in my entire family." Gideon gave a short answer because he wasn't feeling very confident. If he had known he was actually talking to the Lord, he would not have been so disrespectful. Carter shouted out, "How come he didn't know he was talking to God?" That's a great question. Gideon didn't know it was the Lord because usually God spoke to the people through a prophet or in a dream. He didn't come and talk to them face to face like this man was doing. The Lord knew Gideon didn't know who it was that was speaking to him, so he made it much clearer. The Lord said, "I will be with you and you will destroy the Midianites." That got Gideon's attention and he started wondering who this man was and what he should do about this situation. This stranger was starting to sound like he could be God, but Gideon still wasn't certain and he wanted to be cautious. He didn't want to rush into making any promises to go fight such a big army. After all, the Midianites were very powerful and he was afraid of them. Gideon got to thinking he needed to do something to test and see whether this guy he was talking to was just an ordinary man or if he actually was God. He blurted out, "If you really want me to do this, show me a sign. Let me know that it's really you, Lord, talking to me." That's when he thought of giving the man some food. He said, "Don't go away. Stay right here and I'll bring you a present." The angel of the Lord promised he would wait right there until Gideon could get his present prepared and come back. It was going to take Gideon a long time because he was planning on roasting a young goat and making some unleavened bread. When he got it all cooked, he put the meat in a basket and the broth in a pot. The food Gideon prepared could be used to serve a guest that was visiting him or used as an offering to God. Poor befuddled Gideon still wasn't sure who this man was, so he was covering all his bases just in case he really was the Lord. That meat he was fixing sure did smell tasty. I was passing by Gideon's camp while he was cooking it, and I got so hungry I had to stop and chat a while. I asked Gideon if he had enough of that good-smelling food to share. He told me it wasn't for him or for me. He shouted, "This is for the angel of the Lord, and he is waiting for me under an oak tree, and I have to hurry and take it to him." I decided to follow from afar and see where he went and what he did with all that chow. Sure enough, he didn't eat a bite of it. He took every bit of it to the man that was waiting for him. When he got back, the angel was still there under the oak tree, so Gideon laid the food out for him. The angel told Gideon to place the meat and the bread on a rock and pour the broth over it. When that was done, the angel of the Lord touched it with his staff, and fire flamed up from the rock and consumed it all. Then the angel disappeared. That's when poor Gideon finally realized he really did see God face to face. Then a new fear came over him. Now he was afraid he was going to die. The Lord told Moses that no man could see God and live. The Lord knew how Gideon was feeling, so God told him not to be afraid because he wasn't going to die. Carter yelled again, "Why wasn't he going to die? If God told Moses he couldn't see him face to face, why was it okay for Gideon to see him?" That's because Moses wanted to see God in his heavenly form with all his brilliance and glory. No person can see that kind of glory and live. When the Lord appeared to Gideon, he was in human form. That was a great question. Keep your questions coming, boys and girls, because that helps you learn. Gideon was grateful that the Lord had heard the prayers of the people for help and that he had come in person to talk to him. In fact, Gideon was so thankful he built an altar right there and named it the Altar of Peace with Jehovah. That night the Lord spoke to Gideon again. He told him to use his father's best ox and pull down the altar of Baal that his father had, and also to cut down the grove used for idol worship that was nearby. Gideon was to replace it with an altar for the Lord, and then take a second ox and offer it as a burnt sacrifice using the wood he cut down from the grove. The Baal worshippers would put up an altar and then use a wooden post or a stump of a tree next to it for part of their worship. They called that wooden part a grove. The Lord wanted both the altar and the grove destroyed. Gideon was willing to obey God, but he was afraid to do it in the daytime, so he took 10 servants with him and did it at night. Early the next morning, the men of the city saw what had been done to their idol, and they were really upset. In fact, they were furious. They quickly found out who did it and went to Gideon's father and said, "Bring your son out so we can kill him for tearing down the altar of Baal and cutting down the grove." Gideon's dad said, "Does Baal need your help? If Baal is really a god, let him take care of himself and destroy the one who broke down his altar." From then on, Gideon was called Jerubbaal. That's a nickname meaning, "Let Baal take care of himself." Wasn't that a great answer for Gideon's dad? I love that statement because it's true. If Baal was really a god, he wouldn't need any help. The true God certainly didn't need anyone's help protecting his altars. Seymour stopped talking and stared at the children as if he was thinking of something. "Boys and girls, I can't stop thinking about that meal Gideon made for the Lord. The more I think about it, the hungrier I get. I think I need to go get a fishy snack. Hey, I have an idea. Do you want a fishy snack too? Would you like to go fishing in the lake?" Several of the girls shouted, "No." Barbie, the girl closest to the Smotter, said, "We aren't allowed to go in the lake ever again. Our counselor made us promise." "Yeah, Mr. Ben told me about that. He said you were only allowed to swim in the pool, but you can fish from the side of the lake. You don't have to get in the water to fish. All you need is a fish hook and some string. I found a package of fish hooks down at the water's edge and put them in my cabin in case someone needed them. I don't usually fish that way because it takes too long, but I can show you how it's done." The children liked that idea and had agreed to go find some string when they heard the dinner whistle blow, announcing supper time was upon them. Everyone forgot about going fishing and headed for the cafeteria with the Smotosaurus in the lead.